Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by the Lines and Play Picks. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys from Nate. We are going to jump right into that slate for tonight, Nate, Thursday the 4th. Let's just get right into it.
Absolutely. Let's get some money before the All-Star break. Right now, we have the extremely short-handed Raptors +8 at the Celtics. The Clippers with Kawhi questionable, -5 at Wizards. Pistons with Jeremy Grant questionable, +7 at Knicks. Nuggets -4.5 at Pacers. Bucks -6 at Grizzlies. Heat with their two stars questionable, +2.5 at Pelicans. Thunder +6.5 at Spurs. Kings +4.5 at Blazers. And the Warriors are +6.5 at the Suns. So, Josh, the first thing I looked at, even looking at these lines last night, is how are the Nuggets only -4? The way they've handled business in their last 3 games, the way the Pacers have routinely been exploitable when facing good teams. Just not even coming up close. They're 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 when listed as underdogs. They're 5-13 straight up against winning teams. They're 3-8 against the spread overall recently. And 7 of their last 8 have gone over. They're particularly vulnerable in the paint. They give up a ton of assists. They're dead last in 3-point defense over their last 4. And you're looking at a Nuggets team that has the best offensive rating in that 3-game win streak. Jokic, obviously, spraying the ball around, can exploit all those deficiencies. And they've covered in 14 of their last 17 when their opponents on a back-to-back set. So I think you look at a team that loves to exploit tired legs and can do that tonight. You put the over and the money line together, you get +200 odds at DK, DraftKings that is, and I love that.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think you've probably seen a little bit of the spread due to the absence of a couple guys on the Nuggets tonight, including Millsap and Jermichael Green again, who are going to sit. That didn't seem to stop them or trouble them as we thought it might against the Bucks, who have an even more opposing, even formidable front line, I would say, than do the Pacers, who still have obviously Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. One thing you could look forward to add to your point, Nate, is Domantas could be playing a few less minutes tonight. He is going to be playing in the All-Star game, substituting for Kevin Durant. And he did play 38 minutes last night as they had to come back against the Cavs to win. So he might not get as much run tonight. And I do love the way that Denver has continued their torrid pace. And I love Joker to be able to handle anybody down low. Miles Turner might have some nice blocks numbers this season, but that's not playing straight up against someone like Jokic in the paint. So feeling good about all those bets that you mentioned as well for Denver and also potentially the over there. Another game, Nate, that is going to be actually riddled with injuries is that Boston-Toronto game. The Raptors lost last night to a pretty bad Detroit team, giving up 129 points to that squad without Pascal Siakam, without OG Anunoby, or who's the last guy I'm missing? That
Fred VanVleet is out.
Yeah. Pretty important guy for that squad.
And their coach.
And their coach isn't even there to coach those subs. Although he did continue to sit Chris Boucher more minutes than I thought. He only got 24 last night. I don't know why that guy can't get
from far. Don't play Boucher.
Yeah, don't play Boucher. Apparently, I don't understand it. But he still didn't get any run. And honestly, who knows if he'll play that much tonight? But Boston has a little bit of the swagger back. Specifically Kemba over their last 3 games in that win streak that they've had. He's averaging around 25 points, 6 boards, shooting a lot better from 3 finally, up to about 42.5% in that time frame. So I'm actually, this is a pretty big spread. I'm not scared of it after watching Toronto get bulldozed by a way worse team than the Celtics last night. But if you don't like that big of a spread, you can still take Kemba, who is averaging around 6 assists or so in his last 4. If he gets 6+ assists and that the Celtics do win tonight, you can get +265 on your money at FanDuel. So you don't have to worry about that big spread. And I do like Kemba to be able to dish the ball. I think Kyle Lowry will be able to hawk him enough that he'll have to get rid of it and find some open guys.
Yeah, that's a good angle because the Raptors just gave up 39 assists to Detroit, and they're giving up a league high 31 their last 3 games. Obviously shorthanded. There is a chance, they just kind of look at this like, wow, this is such a COVID kick in the pants. Like, let's just rest up for the All-Star break and don't come out with much effort. But I am terrified of the way the Celtics play down to opponents. I mean, they've lost to the Pistons twice this year. They don't look good against the worst teams in the NBA. I know they've turned up to face Toronto when at full strength. They've won 5 of their last 6 against Toronto. I am a little scared of what's creeping up to a 9 point spread right now. So I'm looking to tease it or get a prop in there until we see. Right now, we're seeing Kemba return to that alpha mode, and it's kind of throwing Tatum and Brown off a little bit because they were the alphas at points this season. I think eventually that will all gel and the Celtics will look like a really elite team, but I think it's going to take some time, and I'm not necessarily banking, a big bet on them in any
Yeah,
situation at this
no, that's
point.
that's fine. And just to respond though, while I do agree, Jalen and Jason's struggling right now, but Jalen's also obviously dwindled his numbers a bit as Kemba's gone up, but they're winning. So perhaps it's a little bit more even distribution of points for a reason. So
Right, and they are getting it done in the paint with Rob Williams and Daniel Tice both rotating. They could both have nice games against the shorthanded Toronto. A game I feel confident about is attacking the struggling Kings. They've failed to cover in 10 of their last 11, and 10 of those games have gone over. I'm actually not loving the over, although it is creeping down to 235. If it gets a little lower, I would be willing to hit it because Portland's played great defense lately. Only giving up 106 their last 3 games. In their last 6 home games, they're 5-1, and they're allowing 109, which is light in today's NBA for sure. They've won 12 of their last 13 against Sacramento at home, and they're not a team that struggles on a back to back offensively at all. They average 117, and the Kings on the second half of back to back are 2-5 and averaging just 109 this season. They're dead last in 3 point defense over their last 7, dead last in defense rating on the year. But really, the key is that 3 point defense, right, Josh? I mean, against a Portland team that's the second most threes and scores the second highest percentage of their points off threes.
totally. Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit surprising to see, Portland ramping up their defense rather. Just because you said that, I will mention Carmelo Anthony has a 125 defensive rating in that time, so he is not actually stepping up his defense. But yeah, I think you can look for points tonight if you does get a little bit lower. As you mentioned, I'm a bit scared as we watched, Portland only drop 108, but still play that great defense against the Dubs last night for the win. So I'm actually staying away from that game, but I support you strongly from afar. Another game that I don't feel as comfortable about it, but I am gonna look for the injury report here in that Pelicans Heat game. You've got Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, both questionable. Bam looks to be a little bit less likely to play, to be honest, which would be even worse. The two of them combined for about 18 boards a game, which is going to be crucial against the Pelicans, obviously in that formidable front line. I think you can really look for New Orleans to take advantage of Miami's defense on the perimeter, regardless, in terms of that pick and roll with someone like Zion, picking for those bigger athletic guards on the Pellies to take advantage of guys like Hero. Struss is going to get some run. Duncan Robinson still a liability out there. So I do think that you can find some value here no matter what with Zion. I think he's going to be able to go up. If there's no Bam tonight, I would take this game all the way up to Pelly's like -8, -9. To be honest, if Bam and or Butler play, I still think I like Pelly's about -3, -4. So I'm going to be watching that to see what I can get there.
Yeah, I think this is one where you bet it early and hope the Heat sit their stars. With the All Star break tomorrow, that would give you a ton of value. And the Zion props aren't up yet because of that, but he's someone we gotta like in DFS. Looking at that tonight, obviously the Raptors are going to offer great value with Powell, Boucher. Kyle Lowry has had some big games against the Celtics, but I'm looking a little cheaper at point guard. Dennis Smith Jr. We told y'all last night he goes off and gets a triple double. He'll be the main man again tonight for the Pistons in a tougher matchup against the Knicks. TJ McConnell also with a triple double in steals last night. He's just been all over the place for the Pacers. The Nuggets are playing with pace right now, so that's a pretty good matchup at just 5K. And looking at pretty cheap centers, you mentioned Robert Williams for the Celtics. He's very much a boom bust guy to consider for your tournaments. Jakob Pertl may be a cheaper, more safe play, especially if LaMarcus Aldridge misses another game for the Spurs.
How about a few Knicks guards with D Rose and Alfred Payton both sitting tonight? If you like Emmanuel
Good
quickly,
call.
right? You might be able to find some value there. Just want to throw my Knicks in the ring.
Let the rookie
TJ
go.
and shout out TJ McConnell, whose Top Shot card continues to rise in value as his play increases. My man. So anyway, Nate, that's all the time we have today. As we mentioned yesterday, we are going to have a fun special All-Star episode tomorrow. And we'll be throwing out some props and looking to give you guys a chance to win a gift card or two over the weekend during a really fun and weird and different NBA All-Star game. So as for the weekend, we'll be back with that for you. And tonight, happy betting.